So, what if you could build some serious wealth with a strategy that's so simple, it basically runs on autopilot? For a lot of Kiwis, investing just feels complicated, maybe a bit risky, and frankly, pretty overwhelming. But today, we're going to cut through all of that noise. We're going to show you a proven, low-stress way to get your money seriously working for you.
This right here, from Money Hub's founder, Christopher Walsh, just nails the whole idea. Think about your Kiwi saver, right? It just steadily grows in the background, and you don't have to stress about the day-to-day ups and downs of the market. Well, we're going to take that exact same powerful set-it-and-forget-it principle and apply it to building wealth outside of your Kiwi saver. This is all about having a smart strategy, not about daily stress.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle the challenges that hold most Kiwis back. Then we'll unpack the simple, powerful strategy that the pros really use. We'll look at the perfect tool for the job, index funds, and see why a Kiwi platform called Kernel is a total game changer. And finally, we'll piece it all together to show you your personal path to financial freedom. Let's be real. For most of us, investing can feel like walking through a minefield. You're just bombarded with jargon, you've got endless options, and as our source material points out, a lot of Kiwis have been burned by bad advice or, dodgy players in the past. So it's really no wonder that so many of us either do nothing or we end up paying crazy high fees for pretty average results.
Okay, so let's just bust the single biggest myth in investing right now. You do not need a huge pile of cash to get started. That whole idea, it's officially dead. The reality is, your path to wealth begins with the very first dollar you invest, and then the one you invest the week after that. Consistency, not a huge starting capital, is the real key.
So if having a big lump sum or trying to pick the next hot stock isn't the answer, then what is? Well, the secret is a surprisingly simple, repeatable strategy. It's a method that's all about building a powerful habit, not chasing hype.
The entire strategy, it really just boils down to one concept: automatic investing. This is you putting your wealth creation on autopilot. By making those regular automated payments, you take the two biggest enemies of your success right out of the equation: fear and greed. You're not trying to time the market, you're just consistently in the market, letting time do all the heavy lifting for you.
So how do you actually do this? Well, Christopher Walsh from Money Hub lays out 3 dead simple steps. First, set a clear, achievable goal. Let's say investing $2,000 in a year. Second, break that down and automate it. Suddenly, that big goal becomes a totally manageable $40 a week that just comes out of your account. And third, and look, this is the hardest but most important part, you just stay committed. Wealth isn't built in a day, it's built over decades of patience.
Okay, so we've got our strategy, automate our investing. But where does the money actually go? This is where the simple genius of low-cost index funds comes into play. They are the perfect engine for this entire wealth-building machine.
Now, take a really close look at this number. No, that is not a typo. Over a 15-year period, a simple S&P 500 index fund, which just passively holds the 500 biggest companies in the U.S., beat nearly 9 out of 10 highly paid professional fund managers who were actively trying to outperform it. Just let that sink in for a moment.
So what does that staggering 89% figure actually mean for you? It means paying a ton in fees for an expert to pick stocks is statistically likely to get you worse results than if you just bought the whole market through a low-cost fund. The simpler approach is also very often the more profitable one. And thankfully, doing this from right here in New Zealand is now easier than it's ever been.
And that brings us perfectly to a modern Kiwi platform that has built its entire philosophy around this exact approach: low-cost, automated index investing. Let's take a look at Kernel.
But before we get into the specifics of Kernel, we have to talk about the #1 enemy of your long-term wealth. And it's not a market crash, it's not picking the wrong stock. It's fees. These tiny little percentages, charged year after year, that silently eat away at a massive chunk of your potential growth.
And this is where Kernel's advantage becomes crystal clear. Their core management fee is just 0.25% per year. Now that might sound like a tiny number, but over 20 or 30 years, the difference between a 0.25% fee and, say, a 1.5% fee, well, it can literally add up to tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. It means more of your money stays yours, compounding for your future. But that super low fee, that's just the start. You can begin with a single dollar. There are 0 platform fees, 0 transaction fees eating away at your contributions. Their funds are all IEs, which is a really tax-friendly structure with the taxes capped at 28%. That's a huge benefit for higher earners.
You can diversify across over 20 different funds, including a high-growth option that's over 98% in shares for those with a long time to invest. And to top it all off, it's 100% Kiwi owned.
Let's just make this even clearer with a direct comparison against another provider, Smart. The difference in just getting started is immediate. A $1 minimum versus $500. 0 platform fees versus a one-off charge. 0 transaction fees versus brokerage on every single trade. For someone who's just starting their journey, the difference is massive.
So the crucial point from that comparison is really simple. By eliminating all those extra layers of fees, the platform fees, the brokerage, the joining costs, Kernel's whole structure is designed to maximize your investment from day one. Every single dollar you put in gets to work for you immediately.
Okay, let's bring all of this together. We've looked at the challenge, we've outlined a proven strategy, and we've seen the tools that make it all possible. So what's the key takeaway for your own path to building wealth?
It all boils down to this incredibly simple but really powerful formula. Building significant wealth isn't about some secret financial wizardry. It's about the discipline of consistency through automatic investing, the intelligence of keeping your costs incredibly low, and the unmatched power of giving your money time to grow.
So, we'll leave you with this question. Forget about the massive end goal for just a second. Based on this simple formula, what is one small, consistent step you can automate this week to begin your journey? The power to build your future is right there. Thanks for joining us.